YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with my updated NFL power rankings heading into week 16. Almost to the end, almost playoff time. I'm excited. We got our weekly coverage here, and we'll have weekly coverage for the playoffs as well. Even throwing in some off-season videos lately. So join us, like, subscribe to notifications. I'm excited about these power rankings. Twitter, follow us there. Very important. Links pinned in the comments for that. And our sponsors, Liquid IV, GLD Shop Code GOAT. Power rankings. Panthers did win. They're going to stay at 32, though. They've been the worst team. I do feel like overall they are still the worst team in football. They closed it out. Bryce Young plays a little bit better, especially at the end there. All field goals. The defense is second half of the year. The defense, they're definitely not the worst defense in football. That's for sure. But they're going to remain at 32. Let's see if they can put something together. I guess a winnable game coming up with the Packers. Thought about moving them up, just not enough there because the entire season does matter. The Patriots stayed put, even though they won last week. This week, they put up a fight with the Chiefs. I know it really wasn't that close, but put up somewhat of a fight here and there. But they're at 31. Commanders, the way they finished maybe keeps them from moving down, or thought about even thinking about moving them down because. That's kind of a bad look for Sam Howell, though. Jacoby Brissett comes in and just kind of lights it up. I mean, he gets some, like they had an opportunity to come back. It would have been wild, but, needed an onside kick or a stop, 3 and out then, but still. So, the Rams are a pretty good team, better than their record as well, but they're going to be at 30. A lot of teams staying put. Cardinals at 29. They ran the ball pretty well against the Niners. They put up some points, but they got beat up pretty good. Defense was bad. Jets had a bad outing. Still 2 weeks ago, very, very impressive against the Texans. So Jets, Cardinals, like 28, so they're really close there. So we just kept it the same. 27, the Chargers down 1 spot. You lose like that, you think they move down more than that. But, not a lot of room. On the year, they've been better than the teams below them, but more games on the resume without Justin Herbert could move them down, and those are coming. They'll play the Bills this week. That's pretty tough. Titans down 2 spots. That's a pretty brutal loss for the Titans. That not only a choked lead, but they played the Texans without C.J. Stroud, but not even that. They're missing a bunch of guys. So, and then you get another opportunity in overtime, which you're not the better team, but on that given day, you should have been the better team. They got to win that game. That's bad. So they're down 2 spots, 26, 25. The Giants going to stay put. Tough not moving them down because, I thought that game would be closer, and Olave's out, and so the Saints beat them up better than expected. I was just so disappointed in the Titans, playing the Texans backups and blowing that lead. I thought they should in reverse order hop the Giants there, so going backwards. So that's why the way that they're pretty much in the same boat, though. 24, the Bears down a spot. They outplayed the Browns for most of this game, but that was not enough, obviously. They got to capitalize on turnovers. That offense is still stale. It looked pretty good against the Lions, but and I think that clouded people's judgment, because you got to remember how the offense has been playing in general, not just against the Lions, who are a good team, but Vikings game, this game, I know those are pretty decent defenses, but yeah, that's one they choked away. That's one they should be able to close out. They couldn't do it. They're down a spot. The defense is playing good. I know they kind of let them down at the end a little bit, mainly with Njoku. One play to Cooper, but that was tight coverage. That was just mainly an insane throw, and Cooper did the rest. Mainly an offense. The defense overall has been extremely impressive to me, but down at 1 spot to 24. 23, the Raiders up 4 spots. A dominant win like that will get you going. A lot of energy with that team. The offense can be explosive. It can be explosive. Defense plays better than it looks on paper, so they're up 4 spots from our 23. The Raiders aren't a free win. They're really not a free win. So, they were impressive this last week. Falcons lost to the worst team in football. I know it's an interesting matchup because the Panthers' defense plays well, but one the Falcons should have had, and Ritter and Bijan maybe kind of kept it from them there. The defense did their part. I know that last drive they let them move down the field, but it's bound to happen at some point. Offense got to take care of business in that one. It's a tough week for them because the Bucs won too. That's brutal. Steelers down 2 spots. Have not been playing well with Trubisky in there. So it's kind of been a tough outing. I do believe they're better than what they've been showing, but they're losing, so they're down 2 spots. Packers down 4 spots. Yeah, they got hot. People got hyped on them, and now they came back down to earth. I thought the Giants game was like a little bit of a fluky one because the turnovers, but maybe not because they got completely outplayed by the Buccaneers in this one. Defense is bad. Offense, wasn't bad, but I thought it would do a little bit more against the Bucs defense. They're down 4 spots, 20. Saints are up 3 spots. I was impressed with the Saints. I was impressed with Derek Carr in this game. Against the Giants, hot defense. They played better, especially without Olave. They played better than expected. They made plays when they needed to, I guess. So big win to stay alive. They're up 3 spots, number 19. Vikings down a spot. They look good throughout a big portion of this game. They had production. Defense played well, minus 3 drives in a row in the fourth quarter. So I thought they outplayed their opponent, but they choked. It was an unfortunate one. They can't let that one get away. So at the end of the day, they moved down for losing, and they're down to 18. Bucks up 4 spots, 17. That was an impressive win against the Packers. Very explosive on offense. Baker was great. Defense played better than I thought. Were they great? No, but they played better than I thought they were going to play, and they get the W. It's a huge win to kind of really take control of the NFC South and kind of control their own destiny here. So Colts with the big victory. I know, you kind of expect them to take care of business. I think they did a little bit more than that, though. Against the Steelers, I love those long drives where they're just pounding the football. I love those types of drives. Those are very impressive. More teams need to take a page out of Shane Steichen's book. Like, if you have an opportunity to do that, do it. I think some teams, like, they could do it, but they're like, we'd rather just pass the ball, So Colts back in the top 16, up 2 spots. Big game against the Falcons. Big game for the Falcons as well this week. So 16 versus 22. Actually looking forward to that one. Broncos down 3 spots to 15. Bad versus the run, but they were surprisingly bad versus the pass in this game too. Just not enough against the good teams. They really rely on getting those like clutch, sometimes fortunate turnovers. And they weren't there in a game like this. So it was a tough one. Kind of expected them to lose though on that one. Not the end of the world, but did not look good. And they do look like they rely on some things. So, but they've been looking good in general second half of the year. So down 3 spots to 15. 14, the Bengals. This was tough, like kind of looking for room to move them up. They were a little sloppy throughout a little bit of this game. They did clutch up and win the game, which, being able to find ways to win when everything, you weren't really on your game, I suppose, fully. A little bit of fortunate moments in this game, but they find a way to win. They do get beat up though. Staying put at 14 is a little tricky because they did somewhat recently beat the Jags. It's not all about head-to-head. There's been how many games, and there's 32 teams playing each other. Obviously, the Jags moved down 4 spots to number 13. They're playing sloppy right now. There's a portion of the game, the Ravens game, where they outplayed. It felt like they were outplaying the Ravens, but they were just too sloppy, So down 4 spots to number 13. To 13, they've been pretty disappointing recently. Seahawks, big win against the Eagles without Geno Smith. And they would have won. I mean, even though Drew Lockett was clutch, he was clutch at the end, that clutch throw. They would have won pretty easily with Geno Smith. And I'm quite confident with that, actually, based on how that game went, based off the matchup and the situations there. But they beat the Eagles. They do it. The defense, without some key guys, including Witherspoon, did a really solid job against the Seahawks, the Eagles. So to stay alive for the playoffs, very impressive, and the offense clutched up when they needed to. DK, JSN, Lock. I love the adjustments in the second half. They come out and pound the football, like kind of that old school Pete Carroll, like Seahawks offense. It felt like it's the coaching was really good because coming into the game, like, why wasn't things working? Why didn't they play Geno? You got to pass to beat the Eagles. Like, that's the game plan. Like, really, no matter who you got at quarterback. And they weren't awful at it. They just weren't putting points up on the board. So it was still the right decision to come out pass them on. They come out in the second half like, hey, let's go play Seahawks football. It's out physical, and they're not going to expect this to start the second half. That was absolutely huge. So, well-coached game for the Seahawks. I think they're a top 7 team in the NFC. They got to get there. Winning that one's huge. I think they're a pretty favorable schedule the rest of the way, somewhat. So I'd like to think that they're gonna. I think them and the Rams will make the playoffs. I think some of those NFC North teams been sitting around in there. I don't know. I don't know about those teams. Like if the Vikings were fully healthy, oh hell yeah, definitely. But the Rams and Seahawks are better, like plain and simple. Number 11 gonna be the Browns. They got a really good record, and defense plays well, mainly at home. Hopefully a little bit better away. They're still a pretty good defense, but it's tough because Flacco had some bad interceptions that kind of keep him out of this game. But maybe one of the throws of the year to Amari Cooper, that was crazy, and David Njoku's been really breaking out even further. They're finding ways to win. They'll play it tough on both sides of the ball, really. They're clutch. They win football games, so they're up 2 spots, number 11. Number 10, the Texans are up a spot. I mean, they have a bunch of backups in, including at quarterback, Case Keenum, and they find a way to win. The Titans just beat the Dolphins the week before in Miami. So how about the run defense in this game? Derrick Henry, 0.6 yards per carry. Are you kidding me? So that's a big one for the Texans. Can we have like big takeaways from that game for the rest of the year? Maybe not a whole lot. The run defense is one that stands out. But they get out there, big win to help with the playoff push or to keep hold of it. So they're up a spot to number 10. Rams up a spot to number 9. A little bit of a scare at the end there with Jacoby Brissett coming in, but they completely outplayed the Commanders for most of this game. For this game, besides like the last 5 minutes, I mean, they played great on offense and defense. They could have done a little more on offense, I suppose, but maybe hitting the brakes a little bit too much was kind of costly and not knowing what to expect from Brissett. But Rams are a good team. They're better than them and the Seahawks, same division. They're both way better than their record. They're both good teams. They're both top 7 teams in the NFC. They should be in the playoffs. We'll see if they make the playoffs. Can't choke. Got to execute. So they're at number 9. Almost had the Ravens a week ago. That'd have been huge. Chiefs, this is interesting because the Chiefs just beat the Patriots. A good bounce. It is a good bounce back game. They showed some good things here and there. Just looking at what they've recently done and other teams having to move up. And I wasn't overly impressed in the Patriots game either. Like, a little sloppy here and there. If they went out there and just play like the Chiefs, dominated, then it would have been very, very tough to move them down. But I think other teams needing to move up, and I haven't overly been impressed with the Chiefs. I feel like, I'm not saying they're bad, anything like that, but I just feel like number 8 is where they belong right now. So that was the situation there, which has always been, it would happen once or twice, maybe 3 times a whole season for me in my power rankings. It's happened. I think it's just been a weird year. I think it's caused it to happen more than usual. So that was interesting. Lions are going to stay put at 7. I mean, that victory, it felt like the Lions from earlier in the year, that victory was good enough where it felt like, can we move them up? I thought about it. They have been playing bad football before this game, though, so let's put something consistent together here, but they are a top 7 team right now. Eagles lost another one. They've been playing underwhelming, way underneath where they should be playing. It's mainly been the defense. The defense was actually okay in this game. They did play Drew Lock, and they did switch defensive coordinators. I do think Patricia's better than Desai. I don't think it's by much. I think it's going to look like by a bit in that game and maybe for a few games because the game plan's not really out for that. So the defense actually finally played well just because of that. And for those things, and those things only, it feels like. And they still didn't win, so that's really not ideal. I was confused with the offense, how they can produce, and Hurts making that throw at the end with 2 timeouts. Confused about that. So, and why Browns, why they have a guy running deep downfield. So, they're down a couple spots here. Underwhelming. Number 5, Dolphins are going to stay put. It was a good outing, 30-0. I'm still thinking about that Titans game just a week ago, though. It's part of the resume. I don't know what the hell that was, but now's the time. Now they got to beat a good team. They got to beat a above 500 team still. They're going to play 3 in a row. I'm excited about this. We're really going to learn more about the Dolphins here. Usually we know everything we need to know about the Dolphins or about any team, I should say. I meant to say. And right now their identity is a pretty damn good team that, can't beat good teams, but I still think it's kind of to be determined. So here we go. So I'm excited about this. to see what we got from the Miami Dolphins. The Bills are up 4 spots, number 4. They've been playing really good football. Beat the Chiefs last week. They beat maybe the hottest team or one of the second hottest team in football, the Dallas Cowboys. They don't just beat them, they dominate them. They dominate them with the run. That was impressive. Like, that kind of just adds another element, another game plan factor, makes them that much more scary for teams. Like, how do we got to deal with Josh Allen's, like, the deep ball. We got to deal with his legs. We got to deal with the running game. This new Joe Brady offense, which his play calling was really bad in that Chiefs game. They won. Back in my mind, that could still pop up. I thought it was really good this last game. They look really, really good. They don't have as good of a record as some of these teams, but I just think that, even in some losses, they've looked good. It's just some little things here and there. I think they just plain and simple, like now in recent, they look better than the teams I have listed below them. Even they outplayed the Eagles. Even though they lost to them, but it's not about one game. Beat the Chiefs 2 weeks ago, so have a win over the Dolphins on their resume. Not that that's holding a ton of value in a situation like this, but just very much impressed with the Bills. They just feel like, to me, it's a lot of it's eye test, how I feel about these teams. I feel like a top 4 team. But records do matter, so that was strongly considered. I do have a couple less losses. This is where the head-to-head crowd's not going to be happy. There's a lot of you, the head-to-head crowd, but there's 32 teams, not 2, and there's been 15 weeks worth of games. Like, this team beat that team beat this team. A few weeks ago the Bills lost to the Eagles, and then the Cowboys just beat the Eagles up, and other Cowboys got beat up by the Bills. But in general, recently, the whole season matters. Recently is what matters. The Cowboys were one of the best teams in football recently. They've been better than the Bills this year. Head-to-head, especially in Buffalo, it looks like the Bills are better, but that's not what it's all about. It's just maybe not enough there. The Cowboys having 2 more wins, but plus looking better on the year in general. Even recently, minus that last game. So just not enough to move. And again, the Cowboys just beat up the Eagles 2 weeks ago on top of them being super hot. So I don't want to base these power rankings off strictly one game. That wouldn't be right. So Cowboys are going to be at 3, but it's an interesting situation because the Bills do have less losses than some of these teams, and they are ahead of them, but they're playing really good football. 2, the Ravens up 1, and then the 49ers stay at 1, obviously. The Niners are the best team in football right now. Ravens, that was an interesting game. I kind of compared it to that Chargers game of theirs a few weeks ago where it's like they really weren't like too impressive defensively made plays, but kind of relied on the other team making mistakes, and that was kind of the same thing in this game. So I wasn't overly impressed. I thought, since they allowed that Agnew touchdown, which is wide open, I thought they outplayed the Jags after that point. After that point, I was somewhat impressed. I'm not really impressed. That was kind of the Ravens playing then at that point. So, but they are up a spot to number 2, but playing as good as anyone this year. Again, the Niners remain at number 1. So huge games with playoffs on the line. This week, I'm really excited about that. I just realized 10 plays 11. Texans play the Browns this week, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be huge. Hopefully, the Texans get some guys. C.J. Stroud back. Well, the Browns are missing their guys. I guess if they're both missing their guys, then the Browns are better, for sure. So even playing field, but not how it works. We have NFC North battle, Lions and Vikings. Is it gonna be that much of a battle? The Dolphins play the Cowboys 3 versus 5. That's going to be huge. Probably missing some good ones. I think that Colts-Falcons one's a pretty good one. Jags-Bucks 13 versus 17 this week. Probably missing something. One plays 2. One plays 2. How did I forget that? That Christmas night, we literally got a 1 versus 2, and I almost forgot to mention that. I almost forgot about it. That was on the schedule. That's Ravens at 49ers. That's all on the top of my head with the schedule. I didn't actually look at it, but that's crazy. 1 plays 2, 10 plays 11. Let's go. Excited about it. Excited. We're getting close to playoff time here, so hopefully you can join us for all of our content. We got loads of it. Always adding more, even some off-season videos here and there at this time of the year. So join us. Check out those videos. It's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.